Good morning, students. Now we are going to understand growth definition given by Paul Samuelson. Paul Samuelson defines economics as the study of how men and society choose with or without the use of money to employ scarce productive resources which could have alternative uses to produce various commodities over time and distribute them for consumption now and in the future among various people and groups of society. Main problem in economics is how to utilize the scarce resources into alternative uses. Because our wants are unlimited, the means which satisfies our wants are limited. The major implications of these definitions are as follows. Like Robbins, Samuelson states that the means are scarce in relation to unlimited ends, which means wants, and that such means could be put to alternative uses. Here, ends refers to wants. Samuelson makes his definition dynamic by including the element of time in it. Therefore, his definition covers the theory of economic growth. Samuelson's definition is applicable also in a barter economy where money is not used. Barter economy means the goods were exchanged for goods. His definition covers various aspects like production, distribution and consumption. The production, distribution, consumption also considered as a main division of economics. Samuelson treats economics as a social science, whereas Robbins regards it as a science of individual behavior. Of all the definitions discussed above, the growth definition stated by Samuelson appears to be the most satisfactory. Samuelson growth definition will be in 3-mark question. Mark it. Next, going to learn the scope of economics. The scope of the subject of economics refers to on the subject matter of economics. It throws light on whether it is an art or a science, and if science, whether it is a positive science or a normative science. Economics and its subject matter. Economics deals with production, consumption, distribution, human wants, and efforts to satisfy such wants. Look at the diagram given below. It explains you how wants are satisfied by various economic activities. Economics focus on the behavior and interaction among economic agents, individuals and groups belonging to an economic system. It deals with the activities such as the consumption and production of goods and services and the distribution of income among the factors of production. Factors of production refers to land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. The activities of the rational human beings in the ordinary business of life under the existing social, legal and institutional arrangement are included in the science of economics. The abnormal person and the socially unacceptable and unethical activities are excluded. Economics studies the ways in which people use the available resources to satisfy their multiplicity of want, that is unlimited wants. Scarcity is a problem indicating the gap between what people want and what they are able to get. This scarcity can be eliminated either by limiting the human wants or by increasing the supply of goods that satisfy the human wants. The method of getting more is resorted to rather than the method of waiting less. Always our wants are unlimited because human is a bundle of desire. நம்ம ஒவ்வொருத்தருமே ஒரு ஆசைகளுடைய மூட்டையை சுமந்துக்கிட்டு தான் இருக்கோம். பட் எல்லா ஆசையும் பூர்த்தி செய்கிற அளவுக்கு நமக்கு ரிசோர்ஸஸ் கிடையாது. மணியோ அல்லது some other resources வந்து லிமிட்டடாக இருக்கிறது தான் நம்மளுடைய மெயின் எக்கனாமிக் ப்ராப்ளம். அந்த ஸ்கேர்ஸாக உள்ள ரிசோர்ஸஸை எப்படி வந்து நான் எஃபிஷியண்ட்டாக நம்ம வந்து அலோகேட் பண்ணி வி சாட்டிஸ்ஃபை அவர் வாண்ட்ஸ். இதுதான் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ப்ராசஸ் இன் எக்கனாமிக்ஸ். Economics is concerned with activities of human being only. Human beings are related to one another, and the action of one member affect those of the other members in the society. Hence, economics is called a human science or social science. This will be in 1 mark question. What will be the another name for economics? Human science or social science? Market. The activities of rational or normal human beings are the subject matter of economics. All human activities related to wealth constitute the subject matter of economics. Thus, human activities not related to wealth, non-economic activities, are not treated in economics. For example, playing cricket for a pleasure, mother-child care. It is customary to clarify whether economics is an art or a science, and if it is a science, to observe its specific features. Economics is an art and a science. Economics as an art. Art is the practical application of knowledge for achieving particular goals. Economics provides guidance to the solution to all the economic problems. A.C. Pigou, Alfred Marshall and others regarded economics as an art. This will be in 2-mark question. Market. Economics as a science. Science is a systematic study of knowledge. All its relevant facts are collected, classified and analyzed with that scale of measurement. Using these facts, science develops the correlationship between cause and effect. Scientific laws derived are tested through experiments, and future predictions are made. These laws are universally applicable and accepted. Economists like Robbins, Jordan and Robertson argue that economics is a science like physics, chemistry, etc. Since it has several similar characteristics, economics examines the relationship between the causes and the effect of the problems. Hence, it is rightly considered as both an art and a science. In fact, art and science are complementary to each other. Economics, positive science or normative science. Positive science deals with what it is, means it analyzes a problem on the basis of facts and examines its causes. For example, at the time of a price increase, its causes are analyzed. Price increase ஆகும்போது அது என்ன ரீசன்னால price increase ஆகுது, அந்த மாதிரி ரீசனை வந்து நம்ம அனலைஸ் பண்ணுறது தான் பாசிட்டிவ் எக்கனாமிக்ஸ். On the other hand, normative science responds to a question like what ought to be. Here, the conclusion and result are not based on facts, but are different considerations belonging to social, cultural, political, religious realms. They are basically subjective in nature. What ought to be means used to indicate something that is probable. Maybe நடக்கலாம், நடக்காமலும் இருக்கலாம். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பேசிஸில் நம்ம ஒரு அசம்ஷனில் வந்து அனலைஸ் பண்ணுறது தான் normative science. In short, positive science is concerned with how and why, and normative science with what ought to be. The distinction between the two can be explained. An increase in the rate of interest under positive science would be looked into as to why and how can it be reduced, whereas under normative science it would be seen as to whether it is good or bad. 3 statements about each type are given below. Under positive economics, there are 3 statements. First statement is an increase in money supply implies a price rise in an economy. Second, as the irrigation facilities and the application of chemical fertilizer expand, the production of food grains increases. Third statement is an increase in the birth rate and a decrease in the death rate reflect the rate of growth of population. These are comes under positive economics. Under normative economics, there are three statements. First statement is inflation is better than deflation. Second, more production of luxury goods is not good for a less developed country. Inequalities in the distribution of wealth and income should be reduced. Next, go for basic concepts in economics. Like other sciences, economics also has concepts to explain its theories. A complete and clear grasp of their meaning is necessary when the theories associated with them are studied. Only a preliminary acquaintance is now attempted here. Acquaintance means knowledge or experience of something. Goods and services. Both goods and services satisfies human wants. In economics, the term goods implies the term services also unless specified otherwise. Goods are also called products, commodities, things, etc. Goods as material thing, they are tangible. Goods have physical dimension, that is their physical attributes can be preserved over time. Goods exist independently of their owner. Goods are owned by some person. Goods are transferable. Goods have value in exchange. Kinds of goods and services. Free and economic goods. Free goods are available in nature and in abundance. Man does not need to incur any expenditure to own or use them. For example, air and sunshine. Water was also an example in the past, but at present it has exchange value, so it is not a free good. Milton Friedman, a Nobel laureate, popularizes the saying, there is no such things as a free lunch. He means that it is impossible to get something for nothing. Even those offered a free always cost a person or a society as a whole. Its cost, however, is hidden. It is an externality. Someone can benefit from an externality or from a public good, but someone else has to pay the cost of producing these benefits. In economics, it refers to opportunity cost. Public versus private good. What is public good? A good available to everyone to consume, regardless of who pays and who does not. Spillover benefits, non-rival in competition and non-excludable, example national defense, law enforcement. Private goods, a good consumed by a single person or household. No spillover benefit, a rival in competition and excludable, example food and drink. On the other hand, economic goods are not available in plenty. They are scarce in supply. Man has to spend money to own or use them. Consumer goods and capital goods. Consumer goods directly satisfy human wants, TV, furniture, automobiles, etc. Capital goods are called producer goods, don't directly satisfy the consumer wants. They help to produce consumer goods. For example, machines do not directly satisfy the consumers, but in factories, the manufacturer need them. Perishable goods and durable goods. Perishable goods are short-lived. Their lifespan is limited. For example, fish, fruits, flour, etc. do not have a long life. Durable goods or semi-durable goods have a little longer lifetime than the perishable goods. For example, table, chair, etc. Services. Along with goods, services are produced and consumed. They are generally possess the following. Intangible. Intangible things are not physical objects but exist in connection to other things. For example, brand image, goodwill, etc. But today the intangible things are converted and stored into a tangible item such as recording a music piece into a pen drive. They are marketed as a good. If we enjoy music means it is இன்டான்ஜிபிள், நம்மளால் அதை வந்து தொடவோ உணரவோ முடியாது, பட் we can feel. Heterogeneous, service vary across regions or cultural backgrounds. They can be grouped on the basis of quality standards. A single type service yields multiple experience, for example music, consulting, physicians, etc., inseparable from their makers. Services are inextricably connected to their makers. For example, labor and laborers are inseparable and it's perishable. Services cannot be stored as inventories like assets. For example, it is useless to possess a ticket for a cricket match once the match is over. It cannot be stored and it has no value in exchange. I hope that you all understand about the growth definition, whether economics is a positive science or normative science, and some basic concepts, goods and services, and characteristics of goods and services. Thank you, students.